How to survive in coastal sand dunes. Surviving in coastal sand dunes involves adapting to a unique environment characterized by shifting sands, salt exposure, and extreme temperature variations. This guide provides a comprehensive approach to thriving in this challenging and dynamic landscape. Number 10. Preparation and equipment. Understand the environment, terrain and vegetation. Coastal sand dunes are characterized by shifting sand formations, which can create unstable and constantly changing terrain. Vegetation is often sparse but includes dune grasses, shrubs, and hardy plants adapted to salt and sand conditions. Dunes can be vulnerable to erosion and shifting due to wind and weather. Climate conditions. Expect high temperatures during the day, with potential drops at night. Coastal areas may experience high humidity, salt spray, and strong winds. Be prepared for sudden weather changes, including storms and high tides. Essential gear. Clothing. Dress in lightweight, breathable layers to manage temperature fluctuations. Use moisture-wicking base layers, a sun-protective shirt, and a windproof, waterproof outer layer to shield against the elements. Footwear. Wear sturdy, closed-toe shoes with good grip to handle shifting sand and protect your feet from sharp objects or hot surfaces. Accessories. Bring a wide-brimmed hat, sunglasses, and a bandana to protect against sun exposure and sand. Survival gear. Shelter. Choose or construct a shelter that provides protection from wind, sun, and temperature extremes. A tent with good ventilation or a shade structure is ideal. In an emergency, use available materials like tarps or driftwood to create temporary cover. Sleeping gear. Use a sleeping bag rated for the temperature range and a sleeping pad to provide insulation from the ground. Number 9. Building and maintaining shelter. Choosing a location. Site selection. Find a stable area away from the edge of dunes to avoid the risk of shifting sands or erosion. Look for natural features like vegetation or rock outcrops that can provide additional protection from the elements. Site preparation. Clear debris and level the ground if necessary to create a stable base for your shelter. Consider the direction of prevailing winds and potential for high tides. Building the shelter. Temporary shelters. Use a tent or tarpaulin to provide immediate protection. Anchor it securely with stakes or weights to prevent it from being displaced by wind. Improvised shelters. In the absence of a tent, create a makeshift shelter using available materials like sand and driftwood. Construct a windbreak or use natural features for cover. Maintaining the shelter. Regular inspections. Check your shelter regularly for damage and make necessary repairs. Ensure it remains secure and well ventilated. Protection from elements. Use additional coverings or insulation if temperatures drop significantly. In hot weather, ensure proper ventilation to avoid overheating. Number 8. Navigating and traveling. Travel techniques. Move carefully. Navigate coastal sand dunes by moving slowly and carefully to avoid injury from unstable sand or hidden obstacles. Use trekking poles or a walking stick for added stability. Follow trails. Where available, stick to established trails to minimize impact on the environment and reduce the risk of getting lost. Avoiding hazards. Shifting sand. Be aware of the risk of shifting sands and potential for getting stuck. Avoid areas where the sand appears unstable or prone to collapse. Tides and waves. Monitor tide schedules and avoid traveling near the water's edge during high tide or stormy weather. Number 7. Finding food and water. Food sources. Foraging. Coastal dunes may offer limited foraging opportunities. Look for edible seaweeds, shellfish, and coastal plants. Ensure proper identification to avoid toxic species. Fishing and hunting. If equipped and permitted, fishing along the coast or hunting seabirds can provide food. Follow local regulations and practices for sustainable harvesting. Water sources. Finding water. Look for natural water sources like springs or wells, though these may be scarce in coastal sand dunes. Be prepared to travel to find water. Collecting water. Use containers to collect rainwater or dew if available. In arid conditions, consider using water harvesting techniques such as creating a condensation trap using plastic sheeting. Purification. Filter and purify. Always purify collected water using filters, purification tablets, or by boiling to remove contaminants and ensure it is safe to drink. Number 6. Staying warm and safe. Managing temperature. Cold weather. In cooler conditions, use additional layers and insulation to maintain body heat. Keep warm by staying dry and using a well-insulated sleeping bag. Hot weather. In hot conditions, stay hydrated, avoid midday sun, and wear light-colored, loose-fitting clothing. Use shade and cool down with water if necessary. Safety measures. Avoid hypothermia. Recognize symptoms of hypothermia, such as shivering and confusion. Warm up gradually and seek shelter immediately if symptoms occur. Prevent heat exhaustion. Watch for signs of heat exhaustion, including dizziness and rapid pulse. Rest in a cool, shaded area, drink water, and avoid strenuous activity during peak heat. Number 5. Health and hygiene. Personal hygiene. Hand washing. Practice good hygiene by washing hands regularly, especially before eating. Use hand sanitizer or wipes if water is limited. Waste management. Properly dispose of waste to minimize environmental impact. Use waste disposal techniques that prevent pollution and contamination. Health precautions. Avoid illness. Protect yourself from illnesses by avoiding exposure to contaminated water and ensuring food is properly handled and cooked. Monitor health. Regularly check for signs of illness or injury. Stay hydrated and well-nourished to maintain overall health and energy levels. Number 4. Navigating extreme weather. Sandstorms and wind strategies. Protective gear. Wear a dust mask or bandana to protect your respiratory system from sand and particulate matter. Use eyewear to shield your eyes from blowing sand. Shelter management. Ensure your shelter is anchored and secured against strong winds. Use weights or stakes to prevent it from being displaced. Weather monitoring. Stay informed. Monitor weather forecasts and be prepared for sudden changes. Use a weather radio or mobile app to stay updated on conditions. Emergency planning. Have a plan for extreme weather events, such as sandstorms or heat waves. Know your evacuation routes and have emergency supplies ready. Number 3. Emergency and survival skills. Emergency signals. Use signaling devices. Carry a whistle, mirror, or signal mirror to alert rescuers if needed. Learn how to use these devices effectively to increase visibility. Create visible markers. Use bright colored clothing or markers to make your location more noticeable. Establish a clear area for emergency signaling. Survival techniques. First aid skills. Learn basic first aid techniques for treating injuries, bites, and other medical issues. Familiarize yourself with CPR and other life-saving skills. Emergency shelter. Be prepared to create a makeshift shelter if your primary shelter is compromised. Use available materials to construct a temporary refuge. Number 2. Environmental awareness. Respect wildlife. Avoid encounters. Maintain a safe distance from wildlife and avoid attracting animals with food or waste. Understand local wildlife behavior and avoid disturbing their habitat. Protect ecosystems. Minimize your impact on coastal sand dune ecosystems by avoiding trampling vegetation and disturbing animal habitats. Follow guidelines for sustainable interaction with nature. Ecological impact. Minimize impact. Practice leave no trace principles to reduce your environmental footprint. Avoid littering and respect the natural landscape. Sustainable practices. Use natural resources responsibly and consider the long-term impact of your activities on the coastal sand dune environment. Number 1. Long-term survival and adaptation. Adaptation strategies. Seasonal adjustments. Adapt your survival strategies based on seasonal changes. Prepare for variations in temperature, precipitation, and resource availability throughout the year. Resource management. Manage your resources wisely, including food, water, and fuel. Plan for resupply and ration resources to ensure long-term survival. Building resilience. Develop skills. Continuously improve your survival skills and knowledge. Practice techniques and adapt to new challenges to enhance your resilience. Community support. If possible, collaborate with others to share resources and skills. Working together can improve your chances of survival and provide additional support.